Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they? So the time is, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it's nearly 1:45 in our old England, my delicious little babies. And the sun is shining, weather is sweet, yeah, okay. So yes, the sun's shining. There's an awful lot of not so very nice fluffy grey clouds. It's spot the blue sky, but that's the weather forecast, and it's rather juicy and deliciously warm, okay. So wherever you are in the world, for you all my little beautifuls, whoever manages to watch my videos, I hope that you too are having a super duper and delicious and beautiful day, my little lovelies. Now then, so does anybody ever remember that song, Boom Shakalak? It's on YouTube, my delicious little babies. So what you want to do is type in "boom shakalak," okay, and then please take a look at the lyrics, my delicious little babies. I never do anything for no reason, you see. Okay, you have to. There we are. Before I even say it, you have to read in between the lines. There we are of the song, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Do you follow me? Okay, my delicious little babies. So that's the first one. Now, the second thing I'd like to say, now I hadn't seen her forever, Oh, bless her. And, she has horses and things like this. Now, oh, bless her, so beautiful. Anyway, I remember seeing her in the days with our lovely, not in that way with anybody, our lovely, the Charlie Ward show. Okay, my delicious little babies. So you can type it in and, it will come up. Okay, my delicious little babies. But that was the first time I'd ever seen her, and she was, in an interview with Charlie, bless. And she has, what does she have? 52.1 thousand subscribers now, my delicious little babies. So it's capital C. Should anybody have any form of an interest, capital C, my delicious little babies, Catherine, space, capital E, Edwards. Okay, my delicious little babies on old YouTube. Okay, my delicious little babies. She's very good, my delicious little babies. And I did put a little message that I was going to advertise her, but for some reason, because I didn't know that she was on her YouTube, so I'm sorry about that, Catherine. I just didn't know. Anyway, so I'm ever so pleased now, because I can, like I say, with anybody not in that way, you know what I mean? But I can catch up and there we are and watch, some of her videos, my delicious little babies, okay? Because, she wants to do things, just like the rest of us. There we are, for the good. And she was interviewing our lovely Gareth Ark, my delicious little babies. Yeah, it was a really, really banging video to listen to, my delicious little babies. Okay, so well worth a listen to our little Catherine, bless her, you know what I mean? Because she is sweet, Anyway, because I do not tend to advertise a lot of women. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Another one who I think's banging is Katie Hopkins, my delicious little babies on old YouTube, which of course you will know. Our lovely little Katie Hopkins. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. So yes, but I tend not to really advertise many women, my delicious little babies, because I tend to find the majority, not in that way, are men, there we are, who I listen to, okay? But I've said this before and I repeat it again. I genuinely believe, because I was brought up with my dear dad, bless him, that I'm more for, not in that way. I'm just more where I get along, there we are, with men more. So I get along with, some women here and there, and I have a very close circle. of my beautiful and delicious little friends who I love so very much so. But for myself, it's mainly men who I advertise my delicious little babies. And I forgot to say, so if anybody's, new to my channel, my delicious little babies, and thank you to anybody who has subscribed to myself. Bless you all, okay? But like I've said before, I'm not about clicks or, gaining all subscribers, my delicious little babies. That's not what I'm about. For myself, this is super duper important. There we are, to get the information out, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? That's my mission. Okay, my delicious little babies. So as long as it's, there we are, mission accomplished, there we are, then I feel super duper happy about that. Okay, if I can help in any way that I can. But yeah, and you can also go on YouTube, our lovely redacted, okay, my delicious little babies. So there's plenty, and our lovely UK column, okay, my delicious little babies. Lots of and trending on our Iconic and our lovely, they're all lovely, and our lovely davidicke.com. So there's so many, to listen to on DuckDuckGo, mornings with Mal Care, okay, my delicious little babies, okay. You've got also, well, I usually DuckDuckGo it, Stu Peters network, Rumble, my delicious little babies, okay. I agree with Stu Peters. I agree with most things he says. Sometimes he gets a little bit bless him, a little bit carried away, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? But he's really good to listen to, okay, my delicious little babies. But because what he wants, he just wants, whatever our definition is of normality in his old born in the USA, in America, my delicious little babies, okay. But as everybody knows with myself, okay, I shouldn't even have to say it, I am by no means ever racist or prejudiced, not at all, okay, my delicious little babies. But I like to just give out the information for all of the banging, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I was just listening actually, because, just so that, bless your dear little hearts, that you do not have to. Every now and again, I just have a little look. Yeah, so you got this doctor that's back on with John Campbell, just over 8 minutes long, my delicious little babies. Oh yeah, he's nattering about, that he went to Davos. Yes, we all know Davos, my delicious little babies, for those of us who do. And it's very clear to myself, I'll repeat it again, there we are, he just loves gelling, mixing, nudging shoulders with these kind of what I regard as, there we are, trash, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? But he seems to, feel that there's a lot of good ones in there. I'm really not too sure where he's got that from, my delicious little babies, but that's what you're dealing with. This is a level of brainwashing. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay. It's interesting when you look at John Campbell's birth race, when he's, when the doctor's nattering away. Anyway, my delicious little babies. So, yeah. So, but it's good advertising, isn't it? So I'll hand that. I'll certainly hand that. What's John Campbell got on YouTube? 3.24 million. And I'm not advertising because of, do you know what I mean? But it's great advertising, isn't it? To advertise the WEF, World Economic Forum, and Davos and that, isn't it? To get doctors like that on. Piece of shit he is. Do you know what I mean? There we are. Oh, yes, he is a piece of shit. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? Is that doctor, okay, who's talking to John Campbell, yeah? Likes to slip everything in. Can you see where this is going, there we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? I've seen a long time, anyway. So, so we've got another video today, my delicious little babies. Now then, and that doesn't mean no, I just got an itch. This is over 2 hours long, my delicious little babies. So this one is a rather long video, my delicious little babies, okay? And it is, well, please, I beg you with the Lord of mercy, it is, well, there we are, worth a listen to this video. Now, this is another dear woman who I like to advertise, okay, from time to time, because it's when like a videos come up and everything. Do you know what I mean? I do go on other channels to see if she's, you know, and that doesn't mean no, if she's uploaded something mad, delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? But bless her. Oh, bless her dear little heart. She's really good as well, mad, delicious little baby. She really is, you know. So, should anybody have any form of an interest, there we are. And I really sincerely hope that ones do, okay? Because there we are. This is of utmost, there we are, importance, okay? Mad, delicious little babies. All of the videos that I advertise, mad, delicious little babies, there is a method to everything that I do, okay? But I just enjoy listening to, you know, there we are, serious videos. So forget all of the distractions, my delicious little babies, please and thank you. We have to see the matter in hand, there we are, and what is going on. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? So this one here, this uploader happens to have 64.2 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? This is on YouTube, and if you could please and thank you, type in capital C, Catherine, okay, my delicious little babies, space, capital A, Austin, okay, my delicious little babies, in a space again, capital F, Fitz. So that is spelled, I'll spell it out for you, F-R-T-T-S. Now, the alternative media, of course, they know this dear woman, but for some of my delicious little babies who, you know, you do not know her, do you see what I mean, okay? Well worth listening to this video. And she's talking to others as well, like in a group. And the video should read, state leaders, it was only alerted a day ago, my delicious little babies, okay, so not long ago at all. State leaders briefing the Genius Act and stable coins with Toby Mayer-esque. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? State leaders briefing the Genius, just joining the dots, Act and stable coins with Toby Mayer-esque. Okay, my delicious little babies. Sorry, I've said this wrong, okay? It's not, oh, sorry, dear Catherine. Capital T, the uploader, sorry, my delicious little baby. Sorry, I missed that part, I do apologise. The space Solari, so I'll spell that out for you, capital S-O-L-A-R-R, and then space, capital R, report, and then a space, you know, Catherine, space, Austin, space, Fitz. Sorry about that, my delicious little babies, okay? I got it slightly wrong anyway. I always own up if I've got something wrong, okay, my delicious, there we are, little babies. I do my utmost to do that, okay? Nobody's perfect, and I certainly am not perfect. Okay, my delicious little babies, I can be a little bit trying sometimes, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, but of course I mean well. So let's just close our book and let's just go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies. So anyway, so what our lovely Catherine and her guests, you know, and everything are all discussing. This is to do with the stable coin, my delicious little babies. Now, I'm sure that for some of you, my delicious little babies, you may not have heard of it, but other delicious little babies may have heard of it. Now, this is coming from Born in the USA, okay? Now, what this discussion is about is, let's just say, the not, the not so great benefits of using this stable coin, my delicious little babies. Now, somebody else who went in depth to do with talking about this is our lovely davidicke.com. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, he too, well anyway, he's been there a long time talking about everything, and of course there we are, it's coming to pass. Okay, my delicious little babies. But yeah, this is not a very good idea, my delicious little babies, okay? Because of course, as I said before, we do have some digital, which we've had some digital for a long time. There we are. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? You know, like things like debit cards, credit cards, you know, and so forth. But this is something completely different, my delicious little babies, okay? And it's certainly not for anybody's benefit, you know, and bless the poor Americans, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? It is not for their benefit at all. And this kind of digital nasty business now is not good for any other country either, my delicious little babies, okay? Because what this is talking about, there we are. So, you know, I'm not talking to anybody who already knows about this, my delicious little babies. I'm talking to others of our delicious little babies who do not know. This means wiping out cash. There we are, completely. Okay, my delicious little babies. I have talked on other videos over the months and months and months and months and months about this business. That once that is wiped out, well, you have a problem. Oh, hello, little Maze. You all right, baby? How are you? How are you? Okay, I'll get you something to eat shortly, baby. It's all right. I'll put some ham out for her, but she didn't want it. Okay, my delicious little baby, she may want something else. Okay, Mummy's just doing a video, baby, okay? Oh, are you all right? She slipped on the book. You all right, baby? She's all right. Anyway, my delicious little baby, so let me just get back to this. Sorry about that. So, anyway, so yeah. So, if you get rid of cash, we're in a very serious situation. There we are, indeed, my delicious little babies, okay? And this will, of course, you know, affect anybody with their homes, businesses. You know, there we are, very serious. So when everything else is going on in the world, my delicious little babies, you know, like to send, you know, out here, my delicious little babies, our little babies, sons, daughters, you know, to go into, you're in the army now, you know what I mean? But we noticed that the so-called leaders and that, they never send their own, but they're quite happy to send ours. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, whether we are in England or whether we're in any other country? Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Because personally, they couldn't give a shout. And as I repeat again, you know, to do with these wars, there's only, there we are, one who benefits from this. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Everybody else is really rather irrelevant. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so this is an extremely serious situation. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now they're trying to push it, there we are, faster. Okay, my delicious, there we are, little babies. They're trying to move this faster, okay? For anybody, because occasionally we've all had to use our card, you know, at some time, there we are. We've all done it at some time, okay, my delicious little babies? But for anybody who seems to feel that digital is super duper wonderful and delicious, I'm so sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news, my delicious little babies. This is by no means wonderful and delicious. What this means, say for example, I'm trying to make it, there we are, simple things, as simply as possible, the way I'm explaining it. Say for example, if somebody, let me just say what's just come to the top of my noddle, somebody who, I don't know, buys a takeaway 5 days a week. Okay, my delicious little babies, well, they can order away. But once, should they get their way, my delicious little babies, okay? Because right now they're just trying to sell it, okay? It's like very softly, nicely catch a monkey, my delicious little babies. And they're herping. I'm not calling us all monkeys, my delicious little babies. It's a figure of speech. What I'm saying is that they want to catch you, there we are, in a net. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So they sell it as being this wonderful thing, okay, my delicious little babies. Well, somebody could order away. But what will end up happening is, my delicious little babies, they will not be able to be eating their takeaway 5 days a week, my delicious little babies, if you follow me. Please and thank you. Just like anybody who eats meat on a regular basis. I know many, you know, they eat meat, there we are, almost every day, my delicious little babies, okay? But they could put whatever they wanted in the trolley, but once it reached the cashier, that's if you can find a cashier, because there seems to be an awful lot of machines that, of course, replaced cashiers. You've probably noticed that, my delicious little babies, okay? Well, the fact of the matter is that your order can be, there we are, declined. So, you know, there's so much meat. If they deem it that you've had too much meat, oh, no, 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 no. So that's no go. You know what I mean? So therefore, do not pass go, do not collect 200, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Do you see what I mean? Okay, because you will not be able to eat that meat. Same would apply to fish, dairy, and other things. Also for the fact, you know, which I've been talking about, there we are, a long time ago anyway, to do with this lab-grown meat. Yes, because they want us out here, there we are, to eat lab-grown meat. My delicious little babies, you see what I mean? I already seen a Netanyahu, when was it? That was a while back now, my delicious little babies. Where did I see it? Was it on Rumble or something? Could have been on Rumble. My delicious little babies. Well, yeah, he went in, and it's all to do with McDonald's. So instead of having mankind's there, you know, man or woman, serving you, no, 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 no. This is all by machine. And then, of course, you know, it's like a tiny little blob, you know, and then it makes a piece of fish. And I noticed with that putrid Netanyahu that he really pretended on camera, my delicious little babies, there we are, because, you know, they asked him to taste it. He really pretended that this tasted oh so delicious. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Can you see, there we are, where they're driving it? You see what I mean, okay? Then you've got a R, and of course, you know, that is to replace, there we are, as many jobs as possible, my delicious little babies, okay? Which, of course, AR can never beat interaction, my delicious little babies, with others. Because we are mankind, we are so, you know, we're very, see, I'm stumbling here, rightfully so, but we are very sociable. Do you see what I mean? So we need that interaction with other mankind. So you could not just solely live just never speaking to another soul. Do you see what I mean? Okay, just like, you know, we need that interaction for those of us who do love animals, you know, and our beautiful babies who we call our sons and daughters. We need that interaction. They need that interaction. There we are, with us. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? But of course, what we're dealing with in the world is this is something else. There we are. Let's just say evil lives. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? This is what we're dealing with. So I'll get back to this again. Let's rewind and start again. So when we actually look at this, okay, my delicious little babies, when everybody's getting distracted by things, they're doing this nasty business. There we are, behind closed, there we are, behind closed doors, my delicious little babies, okay, but they're going to try and sell it. That this is wonderful idea, this is marvellous, you know, it's the best thing since sliced bread, my delicious little babies, okay? But no, we have to go back to that putrid Klaus Schwab, who stepped down, my delicious little babies, okay? He was in a bit of bother, wasn't he? Okay, there we are, my delicious little babies, okay? You will own nothing and you will be happy. Apparently, my delicious little babies, yes, because that is what they want, you see. This is what they are wanting, you know, for everybody to own nothing and be happy. And if you had that digital, like that stable coin, and of course they've already got it in China. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? The fact of the matter is, I genuinely do not feel that anybody would be happy with that at all, my delicious little babies, okay? Plus the fact, there we are, you're going to be even more enslaved. Okay, my delicious little babies, there we are. So this is extremely serious. Okay, my delicious little babies. But of course, if I talk to somebody, if I'm out and about, nobody's really interested what I've got to say, my delicious little babies, okay? No. As I always say, something only affects somebody if it lands on, there we are, if it lands on their doorstep. Do you know what I mean? Meaning if it's affecting themselves. Meaning that if they couldn't buy food, and of course, we've got our putrid governments, what they're doing, trying to destroy our farmers. Okay, well, if there's no farmers, there we are, then there's no food. There we are, simple things. It's ding, ding, dong, dong. There we are, common sense. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies? So please, all I can ask, I beg you with the Lord of mercy, is please take a listen to these videos. They are extremely serious, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? It really, really is, you know. Okay. So that's the end of my video, my delicious little babies. Okay. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you also. Okay, my delicious little babies. I'm not coming onto my screen to you today, my delicious little babies, to depress you, because that is not what I'm about. What I feel has clearly happened, my delicious little babies, I'm not going to say it's about everybody, no, I'm not, is that for many, there is a huge fear factor here. There we are, my delicious little babies, okay? My room's warm, yet my shoulders go up, that's my spirit, do you see what I mean? Yes? There's a huge fear factor. So when ones are living their lives, it's like they're not wanting to hear anything bad that they regard as bad, because that makes them, they are very most fearful. Do you see what I mean? But we have to accept the truth of what's going on and the direction that they're doing the best to try to lead us in. And this is the world, apart from the few countries who know nothing about what's going on, my delicious little babies. Oh, and very lastly, I listened to a video to do with Ben Habib. Yes, I mean, I've got to say, you know, listening to him, it all sounds wonderful and delicious. Okay, my delicious little babies, it all sounds, you know, and you cannot really disagree with what he's saying now, what your man's saying. But what I believe's happening here, because he's, you know, forming his own party, my delicious little babies, called Advance. Is it Advance Party? And he's put some of his own ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching into this venture, my delicious little babies, okay? What my issue is, and what we've seen, so it's no disrespect, I'm just done saying it. What my issue is, my delicious little babies, okay, is that whoever gets in power to so-called govern us, I do not believe that we are being governed, okay, my delicious little babies, for the right reasons. They're pushing us, this is only figure of speech, further and further into a very dark black hole, my delicious, there we are, my delicious little babies, okay? They're certainly not there to help us. We can be very most well assured of that, my delicious little babies, okay? But what my issue is that it's words, isn't it? But what we would need to see, there we are, is actions, meaning by actions, not violently or anything like that. Putting your ka-ching where your mouth is, where your trap is. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so again, I'm not so sure. What I feel is happening here, okay, because less and less averting, my delicious little babies, what my thought pattern is I believe deep down, we've got them, there we are, on the run. That's a figure of speech, my delicious little babies, there we are. We've got them on the run because they know that the confidence has been lost, especially since, and there's no trust for many. Well, you do get some mothers who have them, you know, they'll constantly go out and vert, knowing that they're going to be enslaved and treated like a piece of shit, and then they complain about it, my delicious little babies. That's the way it goes, isn't it? It's a level of brainwashing, my delicious little babies. But the fact of the matter is at the end of the day, if somebody's going to go into power, surely to goodness they're going into power because they want to help us, not just chat words, because that means absolutely jack shart. At the end of the day, my delicious little babies, you know, you put your ka-ching where your trap is. You know what I mean? Don't just say all this, that and the other just to reel everybody in. There we are, because this is what happens time after time after time. And you do have ones out there, there we are. Like I said, some mothers do have them. They fall for this shart, there we are, time after time after time. You see what I mean? Me personally, I feel that we, as a country, we would be far better off governing, ourselves. Because I genuinely believe, that we would figure a speech, we would muck together, we'd help one another. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? And we wouldn't have to put up with the shat where they say one thing now, and then completely do another. You see what I mean? Okay, because they're leading us into a very dark place. My delicious little babies, a very dark place indeed. And it's not somewhere that neither myself or yourself or our future generations would ever wish to go. And very lastly, yes, also on John Campbell's, it is, mind you, there are other channels talking about this, my delicious little babies, okay? There seems to be, we do not like this word, but more passings, and we're not having as many births. Well, I wonder why that is, my delicious little babies. I wonder why that is. Okay, my delicious little babies, we are very, very, very serious indeed. Okay, my delicious little babies. Then in Australia, sorry, I've just got to say this. In Australia, my delicious little babies, I heard on our lovely UK column, oh yeah, so they're paying women, flipping, listen to this, my delicious little babies, I'm not shouting at yourselves, paying them, so much ka-ching to have her terminations, abortions, my delicious little babies, okay? So what is it? What is the incentive here? And what are they doing it for? I have a very, very, very good idea, because I've talked about, other things, my delicious little babies, what this is all about. Okay, my delicious little babies, so there's an awful lot going on. So like I said earlier, when we're being distracted, there's very, very, very nasty things. Okay, my delicious little babies, and sometimes they go behind closed doors, so they don't tell any of us in the world, my delicious little babies, no, we're not to know that. You see, but what we must understand is that we are strong. I'm not talking about to incite anything or anything like that. It's just that we need to, step into our power and say no to this shart, my delicious little babies. If we all just said no, job done, it'd be finished today. Simple things, it'll be all over, okay? But what they need is our compliance. They want our consent, but they do it so sneakily, they're lower than a snake's belly, and you cannot get lower than that. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? This is how they do it. This is how they do it. You see what I mean? So we've got to say no, we've got to keep using the cash, the ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. We must keep using it, my delicious little babies, okay? Because this is what they want. And I'll repeat once again before I leave my video, so thank you so very much for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments. I never did a video the past couple of days because I'm not peed off with it all, my delicious little babies, because I genuinely feel, and thank you to anybody who does listen, to some of my videos, but for most of the time, so this has not been disrespectful. I feel like I'm just talking in the camera, to me damn self. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? Because you can see what's going on, you can hear what's going on, and you're doing your best to alert others. Well, I'm done doing it, and nobody's wanting to listen. That doesn't mean yes, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So I just thought, just let me have a couple of days off. Let me just come out of it for a couple of days, do you know what I mean? Because I thought, this is going to affect ourselves, it would affect our future generations. I've got beautiful daughters now. I've got my beautiful dear little friends and neighbours and whoever I meet, for most, they've got the babies, you know what I mean? They've got the bands, the teenagers and everything, and what the whole point is that we make future generations. What these are trying to do is stop future generations, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? So this is a war, against us. In all of our countries, my delicious little babies, it is a war against us. And as our lovely UK column would say, not in that way, not in that way, we are being attacked, by our own governments. And this is, worldwide, my delicious little babies, okay? They're all trying to steer it, try to steer the ship in the same damn direction. And it's a direction that we need to go in the opposite direction. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? And that's what it is. And sometimes I just get really, I get annoyed, but I get so frustrated because I'm saying to myself, well, why, I'm not talking about anybody who knows, but why aren't others seeing it? Why aren't they willing to listen? Do you understand what I mean? That's my frustration. So I thought, let me just come out of it for a couple of days and just don't do any videos. And that's what I did, my delicious little babies, just so that I could just do things freely and, walk in there. Do you know what I mean? And just chill a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes, because I have so much on my noddle, do you know what I mean? That sometimes I can do my own flipping boxing. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? So I just needed to, there we are, to calm down and chill a bit, Anyway, my delicious little babies, how I love you all so. Thank you once again for listening, okay? Now, you just look after yourselves, but please try to use cash, there we are, as much as possible. Please and thank you. This is so, there we are, super duper important. You're never going to realise, honestly, please, how important this is. Okay, my delicious little babies, and whenever I advertise videos, I'm doing this, there we are, to do my part in, there we are, in the world, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, to try to help. Do you see what I mean? Okay, my delicious little babies. But that's another reason why my videos just do not get seen. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies. So until my next video, my delicious little babies, you just look after now and try to look after others. Okay, so very much love. Thank you once again for listening. Take care. How I love you so. Goodbye.